All right, to move on with the NFL talk, this past week we've had a very big contract signing. The Dallas Cowboys, after franchise tagging him here, getting hurt there, the man has been neglected. He's been denied his money, and he's finally made it. Yes, Dak Prescott signed a 4-year, $160 million deal with 126 guaranteed. Now, I don't know where that puts him on the all-time list with quarterback contracts, but that's a lot of money to give Dak Prescott. Now, I know Rob has a lot to say about this, so I'm gonna let him get to it.
All right, I wanna put a couple disclaimers out there. First things first, I love seeing football players get their money. I think that Dak Prescott has the best contract in the NFL right now, so I'm happy for that. I hope Dak Prescott gets very healthy so he can actually play well. But as far as the Dallas Cowboys, man, as a diehard New York Giants fan, I am elated. I am absolutely elated. One thing that we understood is that Dak Prescott was a fourth-round quarterback. He was being paid about $300,000 per year, and they still couldn't surround him with the talent requisite for him to actually win playoff games. Now they are paying that same quarterback $400 million per year, and this right here solidifies they're losing. It solidifies it. Now we know they can't pay anybody on the defensive end. Their defense is going to be bottom 5 again. Their defense is going to be terrible. They need a safety. They need linebackers. They need pass rushers. They're not getting that. And of course, they're going to have to get rid of one of their wide receivers. I'm pretty sure, what's his name?
Michael Gallup?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Michael Gallup is gone. So, of course, their offense is going to take a hit. Their defense is garbage now. So now the losing is actually going to be solidified. Now, don't get me wrong. They might make the playoffs, mainly because the NFC East is arguably the worst conference in the NFL. They might make the playoffs, but of course, it's going to be a one-and-done situation. In the next 4 years, I don't see the Cowboys going anywhere. Absolutely nowhere. As I said, I hope they make the playoffs so they don't have a good draft pick, but that's it. They're not going anywhere.
I mean, listen, those were some strong words. I think Dak has earned every single penny of that contract. I think it's actually long overdue. The disrespect that he's been treating him like he's a running back, as if he's not, you could really argue that Dak is a top 10 QB in this league today. You could argue that Dak has been the most consistent QB in the NFC East for the last 2-3 years now. I think when you look at it, it boils down to bad business. In what world do you pay a wide receiver? You pay the running back. You pay your safety, your linebackers. You're paying all of these guys except for the quarterback. You even had a coaching change and you still don't pay the quarterback. So I think this has been long overdue, man. I think the Cowboys did it to themselves, allowing the market to rise, each and every year. But I'll say it again, Dak Prescott is worth each and every penny of that contract.
All right, I'm gonna have to agree with Tyler. Dak Prescott is worth it, right? I've seen a stat, and I don't know what the updated one is, but since Dak got drafted, he's won, I think, the second or third most amount of football games. And unfortunately, the win and loss column does get handed over to the quarterback because they have the most impact on those situations. But the thing with Dak, he was getting those wins, but when it came to playoff time, some people say it was the coaching, or some people say it was the defense. I don't know what it was. I just know the Cowboys weren't winning much playoff games. That was with Dak, without Dak. I don't know what's going on with the Cowboys. They did sign Dak. They have Amari Cooper. They have a pretty stacked offense, but Ezekiel Elliott has been on the decline. They gave him the bag, and we don't really see running backs get bags like that, but I don't feel like Zeke is going to live up to his contract. He's already on the decline. Their offensive line isn't what it used to be, but I'm going to clap it up for Dak for securing the bag. Clap it up for Dak, but I don't see what the Cowboys are going for, man. I don't see much of a future in Dallas.
Now, as far as how good I think Dak is, I don't think Dak is that good. I think Dak is a quarterback that has a lot of inflated statistics. One thing that we did see Dak do is he led the NFL in passing yards. Last season, when he did get injured, he was leading the NFL in passing yards. And the season before that, he threw for a lot of passing yards. What Dak does is he goes behind in the first 3 quarters by double digits, and in the fourth quarter throws about 200 yards. Now, of course, on a box score, it looks amazing, look impeccable. But one thing that we have to remember is that they were 1-3 when he got injured, and of course he was losing to the New York Giants, my team, which was terrible, a terrible team. He was losing to the New York Giants, and his backup Andy Dalton had to come in and save the day. Dak Prescott, in my opinion, is not a quarterback that you can win consistently with. Now, Dak Prescott has talent. I'm not going to deny that. But as far as how good it's going to be in terms of a team setting, I believe he's very similar to Tony Romo. All talent in the world. Bootleg to the right, throw across your body, throw it on a dime potentially. But when it comes down to it, interception, you fumble, pick, a whole bunch of stuff that you just can't necessarily rely on Dak Prescott for. So because of that, I don't necessarily think he's going to be a top 5 quarterback in the next 4 years. I don't even think he's going to be a top 10 quarterback in the next 4 years. It's arguable that he's going to be a top 15 quarterback in the next 4 years. Wow. I personally believe that that's just my opinion. And when you look at the quarterbacks that you don't necessarily 100% trust, you haven't necessarily 100% trusted over the past couple of years, Carson Wentz, Jared Goff, their contracts hasn't necessarily looked the best. I think Dak Prescott is probably going to end up in the same situation. And you only got to take my word for it. Jerry Jones started the same thing over the past couple of years too. He franchise tagged them and waited until the last years of his deal. So if your own owner doesn't necessarily completely trust you or didn't completely trust you, I mean, what more can I say? I believe that Dak Prescott is definitely going to play well in terms of statistics. But as far as the win-loss ratio goes, I don't necessarily think so. And of course, if Zeke is not necessarily the Zeke that we did see in the first 3 seasons, I think the Cowboys are going on a fast track to 8-8.
He's not wrong on that fast track to 8-8. I mean, if Ezekiel Elliott, is being paid like the best running back in the league, but you know what I'm saying, he's fell off completely, then I don't know what you're going to do. But as far as Dak Prescott, you don't think Dak Prescott is a top 10 QB right now?
Absolutely not. Hell no.
I mean,
no.
I don't understand how you can sit here and say this. I mean, Dak Prescott has been a consistent QB since he's entered the league. He shows up on time. He puts in the work. You don't see him getting any trouble, and that's just off the field. On the field, I mean, you have your mishaps. Everybody has their mishaps, but I don't think there's ever been a moment in time where Dak Prescott has looked like he wasn't a top 10 QB in the league. I'm sorry. There are factors around him that are outside even his control. Despite having Jason Garrett as a head coach, for the better part of his career, he still looked very good to me. I'm sorry.
Without Jason Garrett, with their new coach from Green Bay, which I don't completely trust. I'm not even going to say his name.
Mike McCarthy.
But I didn't want to say his name, but there you go. With the new coach, you feel me? With 3 very good wide receivers, CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup, and what's the other one?
The rookie,
Austin Cooper. Cooper.
Oh, Cooper. Cooper.
Yeah, Amari Cooper, CD Amari, and Gallup. With those 3 plus Zeke, they were ranked the 21st offense in the first 3 quarters of the 4 games that he did play. Now, of course, it's all well and good when you're down double digits, sometimes down 20 points in the fourth quarter, you throw for 200 yards. That's all well, good, and dandy. But what are you doing for me when the game is actually on the line? I don't necessarily think he's good when the game is actually on the line. Now, when the defense wants to play soft, give you nothing cheap and deep, of course, he'll dot you up. But as I said, in the first 3 quarters, he's definitely not a top 10 quarterback. He's not going to prove that he's a top 10 quarterback to me unless he does something in the playoffs. I could definitely name 10 quarterbacks that's better than him. I'd arguably throw in Jared Goff.
Jared Goff?
What's the problem?
Oh, Jared Goff over Dak Prescott. I mean, granted, Jared Goff did make a Super Bowl, so I can't say nothing about that. But then again, that was more so that defense led by Aaron Donald. But let's not even. I just gotta say this, man. You talked about the wide receivers they got. You talked about Ezekiel Elliott. You talked about the coach. The coach couldn't get it done with Aaron Rodgers, so he's not going to get it done with Dak Prescott. Nobody was for Mike McCarthy being the answer. Guys like Amari Cooper would give up on plays, throw tantrums, not even run the right routes. Ezekiel Elliott, I don't know how many times we got to see Ezekiel Elliott just doesn't care about football anymore. That man, I don't know what happened to him. He's washed. But like I get it, man. But like it's a lot of things that go on in the Dallas Cowboys organization that Dak really takes the fall for, and he just doesn't say anything about it. But that doesn't mean that it's all you chalk it all up to Dak. That's why I think he's worth that contract.
Well, as he should take the fall for it. In the first season of his rookie year, when he was basically throwing for like 150 yards per game, and Zeke was getting like 200 rushing yards per game, when he went 13-3, we said they gave Dak the rookie of the year, right? Offensive rookie of the year. So of course he got the praise back then. Well, he was up there. He got the praise back then. So now, of course, you're gonna get the blame when they're not doing so well. And of course, because they brought in a new coach for him, they kept the same offensive system for him. They did all that. They catered to his needs. Brought in 3 good wide receivers. Damn, that had the best offensive line his first couple of years. Not now so much. Also paid his running back Ezekiel Elliott. He's not necessarily doing so good, but regardless, he had the perfect system around him, and he still went 1-3 in one of the worst divisions of all time. Or one of the worst conferences of all time.
Adrian, what you got to say, man?
I don't got much to say about the Dallas Cowboys, man. I don't feel like on Rob's take when he said Jerry Jones didn't want to pay him either. I don't feel like that was why he was franchise tagging him. I feel like he was eventually going to pay him, but I feel like he was franchise tagging him so he can have a bigger window of winning with a budget quarterback, because at the time he was playing a lot better than what he was getting paid for, so they didn't have to pay him that much. So they took that money, they got pieces like Amari Cooper, they paid Zeke. I don't know why they paid Zeke when their defense needed some help, but they did that. They got some pieces around him to see if they could win in that window, and they didn't win in that window, so it came out to be a really bad thing. But as far as the Dallas Cowboys go, ain't much to talk about, bro. They're America's team because these annoying ass fans, and yes, I'm gonna say it, y'all gonna hate me. These annoying ass Dallas Cowboys fans are there's so many of them. That's why they're always a topic of discussion. America's team, but they haven't won in about 30 years. I don't got Cowboys.
And again, I gotta commend Dak Prescott on finessing and finagling his way to that contract. You gotta admit, Jerry Jones got finessed. This is like one of the first times he actually got finessed. If you guys do recall, a couple of years prior, I'm talking about even before Dak was actually a free agent, Dak was actually talking about getting like $32 million per year, nowhere close to $126 million guaranteed. And now look, Jerry Jones could have just gave him that contract back then, and you would have been good. You would have been good, but nah. He wants to do all this franchise tag Dak. All right. Now you got to pay $40 million per year.
Yeah, man. Listen, I think you're going to be in for a big surprise this season. That's all I'm going to say.
A good surprise or a bad surprise for the Cowboy fans?
A great surprise. I'm not saying Super Bowl, you know what I'm saying? I'm not going to be the typical Cowboy fan. You know we're going to the Super Bowl, right? I ain't going to say that.
But high draft pick?
Nah, I think at the very least they're going to win 2 playoff games. At the very least.
Oh,
I'm going that far.
Okay,
yes.
so let's do this. Let's do this. We'll just give a record, and we'll end this clip here. We'll give a record of what we think the Cowboys' record is going to be this season. I'll start. I say they'll be 9. What's that? 9-6.
9-7.
9-7.
8-8.
11-5.
Hey, there you have it.
In that division, 11-5.
What changed from last year? Like that was the same. It's the same division, and now he has one less weapon in Michael Gallup. What changed? How are they going from 1-3 to 11-5?
This man is healthy. This man is paid. This man is ready to play, and that's all I got to say about that.
And there you have it about the Dallas Cowboys.